Hello, and welcome to Universal Heritage Television, Naija. This morning, we are going to bring you the maiden edition of our program, A Matter of Concern. A Matter of Concern is designed to capture and feel the pulse of the people on socio-economic and political affairs, especially in the area of governance. This morning, we are going to discuss a number of issues as much as time can permit us, and to touchlight our focus on these issues are two gentlemen. Here on my right is Collins UGHALA, a Knight of St. Christopher, and he is the convener of the Global Association of Concerned IMO Youths. Mr. Collins, you are welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning.
And I have to add that he is also a very strong supporter and member of the ruling government in Imo State, the APC.
Thank you.
On my left is EBUBE Mba. EBUBE Mba is featuring regularly in our program in recent days. He is the DG UGHALA Media Center, as well as being a member of IMO PDP New Media Center. EBUBE, you are welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, gentlemen, thanks for honoring our invitation. We are going to start discussing some of the issues that are playing out in governance, especially in the area of rule of law. Some IMO citizens have raised concern and expressed dissatisfaction with what the government is doing. Now, let me be pointed, there are three issues we are going to focus on. Now, the appointment of sole administrators in the state. According to some persons, they said this is unconstitutional. Appropriately, there should have been a local government, an elected local government in place, officials in place. But we don't have that. We ran from interim management committee till the last time the governor appointed sole administrator. This is considered as an aberration. Collins, do you have anything to say in that regard? Why the government should go against a constitutional provision?
I don't think the government went against constitutional provision in appointing SOLADs or interim management committees, because if we want to push the argument that the Hope of the administration violated the constitution, we have to also look back in time to those who also not only appointed interim management committees, but unilaterally dissolved elected local government officials. So, but that is not my view now. My view is that the government did not violate the constitution, because the constitution has a proviso that the state assemblies have the responsibility to make laws for the good governance of the local governments in their states. Now, if the local government, if the state assembly makes a law empowering the governor to appoint SOLADs or interim management committee or TC chairman, whatever nomenclature, I don't think it is a violation of the constitution. But in the instant case, we have a governor that has promised to conduct local government election, and we believe the governor. Just that there was a hurdle along the way occasioned by insecurity, and the Imo State Electoral Commission came up in time to say, look, we have a challenge, that is insecurity, we can't go on at the moment, but subsequently we will roll out a fresh timetable. So the governor sticks to his word that he will conduct local government election, and we hope that very soon we'll get that sorted out.
Okay, yeah, governor has made promises, but we are not seeing anything towards that. What I am saying pointedly is, are you saying that the appointment of sole administrators has a constitutional backing? Aside from the they usually appoint interim management committees to hold brief, and then while they prepare to conduct it. But the situation of a sole administrator, just like we used to have it back in the days in the military, who will now run everything is at his beck and call. You know, he's not working with committee members. It's only him. So he chooses what to do at the later. Are you saying it is appropriate or that the state assembly allowed that?
In the first place, there is no way either a solo administrator or IMC or TC chairman will run solo. The local government has its own workers. You know, there are directors, there are director of accounts, there are director of admin. The local government workforce is there. So whether you appoint a solo, it's not going to or not, it's not going to run solo. The only thing is that in the place of having councillors and all of that, he is the only person, and it is a temporary thing. That kind of arrangement is not supposed to last for long. It is a makeshift to hold on. You understand? It is like a placeholder until the real thing comes on board, because you can't advise the government to go on to conduct local government elections in the face of the kind of insecurity we witness. But now that the issue of insecurity is being sorted out, peace is returning, you know, people are moving about, we see economy coming up, with social activity coming up, all kinds of schools are in session, markets are open. So now we can discuss, we can now go back to the issue of local government election and ask Governor, please, you gave us this promise, we want you to roll it on. And I hope that the governor did not forget that he made that promise, and we'll see things roll out.
Okay, EBUBE, what are your thoughts on these issues?
Okay, thank you very much. Talking about the local government system in Imo State, I honestly do not want to view it from the angle of rule of law for today's discussion. I want to view it from the angle of integrity. When the governor, Hope Uzodinma, came in power on the 15th of January 2020, you know, days later or weeks later, he made a promise that within 6 months of his administration, he will conduct local government election. And he put in place interim management committee for the local governments. Months, weeks transcended to days, to weeks, and then to months.
Yes.
And now we stayed over 34 months in office. He is yet to conduct the local government election. My friend here says it is because of insecurity. And I am wondering when, because when Governor Uzodinma came in power, there was no insecurity. And this whole insecurity issue started like maybe close to a year while he's in office. So he had all that time. Let's even assume it is insecurity that is making him not to conduct the local government election. But what happened before the insecurity commenced? He had almost a year before the insecurity commenced. And the insecurity we are talking about is not stopping, and this is, Imo State is not the only state witnessing insecurity in Nigeria. There are other states who also have even higher volumes of insecurity. And INEC is conducting by-election, has been conducting by-election, off-season elections, all this while. They have not complained about insecurity. INEC still went ahead to, fix 2023 general elections, even while trying to make security arrangements, but they didn't say because there is insecurity in parts of the country, there will be general election. So it is a matter of integrity, not just the rule of law.
Let me draw your attention to one fact. I hope my memory serves me right. When you say that Governor Uzodinma stayed in office and started experiencing insecurity 1 year after, I don't think that is right. I think shortly after he came in, it may not be more than 1 or 2 months. You remember when the prison was attacked? It was just sometime around April, and
no.
The prison attack.
That attack was on April 5th.
Yes, it was.
Of which year?
2020.
Not 2020. You can check maybe after this program.
No,
you can check.
But I do know that
Uzodinma had several months in office before the insecurity started. He didn't conduct the local government.
Whether or not insecurity followed him or immediately he assumed office. The issue I expect you to talk about the constitutionality of the appointment of SOLADs in the state. Is it the right thing to do, or do you think differently?
Well, my answer to that is that not just, realistically speaking, not just Governors Odema, virtually all the governors in Nigeria have in recent times pocketed the local government system. You know, they use the state houses of assembly to, you know, come up with all manner of motions and all whatnot, and then they put in place any kind of government they want to put in place there. So whether he is bringing on board interim management committee or solo administrators, they are coming to serve the same purpose for him, which is the same purpose I've been talking about, the purpose of integrity. This government lacks integrity.
I want to disagree. You see,
in what respect? What is
that's what I want to say on this same issue, the issue of integrity.
Okay.
You see, when we talk about the rule of law, we should try to divorce our personality, our person, from the issue of the rule of law, because those who put the rule of law, those who conceptualized it, didn't see us. They didn't factor us as a person. You know, rule of law is the rule of law.
No, when you say they didn't factor us as a person.
As a person, they didn't say
the society.
No, I mean individuals. They didn't say, okay, colleagues, we are doing this thing because of you. We are conceptualizing this because we have in mind. No, it is for everybody. When you come up, you uphold it. Now, the issue of integrity, like I did say before, we had a government here before this administration. Somebody was declared governor in 2019. But after his swearing in, he met elected local government officials. He went ahead, I'm talking about former Governor Emeka Hedo, he went ahead to dissolve the elected local government official. And if you're talking about integrity, I wonder what you say about that kind of person, whether he has integrity or he doesn't have integrity, whether he obeys the rule of law as a concept, you know. But, like I did say, insecurity is a very big issue. The IMO State Independent Electoral Commission does not have the same capacity as INEC. INEC is a federal government body. Federal government and state are not equal in capacity. And again, before insecurity came up here, we had the issue of COVID-19 that had its own rules. There were lockdowns. People were prevented from assembling, coming together. And if you want to do election, people must come together. People must campaign. People must go to register. People must be on the line to vote. All the regulation, the COVID-19 protocol prevented people from doing these things. So that period of time was lost, coupled with insecurity. So I am thinking, I am of the opinion that Governor Odema has done no wrong as far as this matter is concerned. What we should be saying is, now that peace is returning, that now that the issue of COVID-19 is addressed, peace is returning. Can we go back to the drawing board? Can we revisit the issue of local government election? Governor, can we have a new timetable? I say, can we have a new timetable? That is the way I'm looking at it. It's not a question of integrity, because if you go through that route, we'll be casting aspersion on
I want to.
So many people.
Okay, let's progress.
Just a little reaction to. He made some accusations to my principal. I have to react. Just a little reaction.
No, it's not about.
Okay, he said no. He mentioned him. I have to react. If you don't give me an opportunity to react, then it's an aberration. I have to react to the weighty allegations he made against my principal. When Right Honorable Meki Hedioha was in power in Imo State, he said that he dissolved elected local government. That is not true. The local government, the State House of Assembly dissolved.
But you know that earlier on that governors manipulate
I don't interfere when you speak. So allow me to speak. When Hedioha was in power, it was the Imo State House of Assembly that sat and said that these people, their election didn't follow the due process, and they dissolved them, and then empowered the governor to appoint interim management committee. Now back to what we are discussing. Why I keep saying it is an issue. He has said now we had COVID-19 even before the insecurity, but COVID-19 didn't stop all the government gatherings that had thousands of people come together. Right from the 15th of January when Governor Odima was sworn in, I was at the airport on 15th of January when he arrived. I was in the morning of that. I saw thousands of people, and I was asking. They said Uzodinma is coming back to to take over. And I also watched on tape thousands of people gathered at the stadium when doing the swearing in the night. So these things COVID-19 didn't affect these ones. And then the prison break we talked about, prison break happened in April 2021. Okay. Not 22. So you had over 1 year. Okay. You had over 1 year before insecurity started. That's why I said the government of Senator Hope Uzodinma lacks integrity, and that is why he has failed in his promise to conduct local government elections.
We are not just, we are looking at issues pointedly. Now let's go back to the local government. Collins, let me ask you, what is playing out in our local government? The way our local governments are, is it supposed to be? If you go to the local government, no activity is happening there. Most of them are overgrown with weeds. People hardly come to work, and so many other things. And that is the level of government that keeps touch with the locals. And a lot of things are not happening right in the local government. So what actually is the government doing?
Now, like you noted, yes, a lot is going on with the local government system. Things are not too good with the local government system. And this problem, I will attribute this problem to governors who tampered with elected local government officials. Whether with the pretext of motion or bill or law from the State Assembly to dissolve elected local government officials, as far as I'm concerned, it is an aberration, because the State Assembly is not the court of law. It is not the High Court. It is not the Appeal Court. It is not the Supreme Court to decide whether somebody won an election through regularity or not. If you have a feeling that somebody did not win his election clearly, there were manipulations or irregularities, you go to the court, not to the State Assembly. So, and my friend EBUBE earlier said that he is aware that state governors manipulate the state assemblies to get laws favorable to them in order to manipulate the local government system and put in place the system or the people they want as TC chairman or whatever nomenclature. So that is the major problem. To address this issue, we have to go back to having elected local government system. That is what the Constitution provides for. That is what the Constitution envisaged. Now, this is where we are now, that Governor Hope Uzodinma is willing to and have promised. Let me also tell you that I'm not trying to cast aspersion. I'm stating things for fact. Now, when Emeka Ihedioha emerged governor in 2019, he promised that within 3 months he would conduct local government election. He didn't live up to that promise until he left. I don't know whether this is integrity or not. He stayed 7.5 months in office and left. I don't know whether this is integrity, that you said you conduct election in 3 months, you didn't do that, 7 months passed. I don't know where you had your getting to the 8th month, you didn't do that. I don't know what to call it. But my point is that to solve the problems of the local government system, we have to have elected local government system. That is number one. Number two, for whatever reason, if we have elected appointees at that level, they should live up to their bidding. The idea of when you elect or appoint people into positions of office, they try to be funny, they behave as if they don't understand their duties. We should not continue to condone things like this. Every government appointee should be up and doing, bearing in mind that you should be accountable to the people, because you are paid by the taxpayers' money.
Yeah, now we are talking about money. Let me bring the issue of funding, the funding of local government. There has been this controversy of local government autonomy. It's only there in theory, and it doesn't happen practically, because the governors hijack these funds and make use of the money the way they like, without allowing activities to happen at the local government levels. So in this state is not an exception. So why would the governors be killing the local government system itself? the issue of funding? Because
it is not the governors alone. It is not, the problem is not with the governors alone. Like we have established here, members of the various state houses of assembly are also culpable. It is a question of all hands being on deck. Everybody should come together to rescue the local government system. Okay. That is the point I'm making. And again, if there are states that put hands into the funds belonging to the local government, I would like to speak to individual cases, isolated cases, not a generalized view.
Yeah, like in most states.
Let us have the facts. What is the fact you have?
The allocations that come to the local government.
I'm aware that it's black.
Are you saying it gets to the local government?
I should think so, because I'm aware that there is jack and jack seats. So unless we have a compelling evidence to the contrary, no. But as far as I'm concerned, there is jack and they sit.
Apart from payment of salary, what's your opinion about this?
Thank you very much. When he was addressing the issue of local governments being overgrown by weeds and not bubbling, he blamed it on past governments. I wonder where that came about, because we all recall in these states when Right Honorable Meki Hedioha was in office, the local government was bubbling. There was life in the rural areas. There were practicable, you could see life in the 27 local governments. If you go, the local governments by themselves, the interim management committees that were, as at then, introduced what they call clock-in, clock-out system. They were using it to checkmate laxity of the workers.
And then everybody tried to be in the power.
Everywhere was bubbling. And then you could see the local governments, engaging in capital projects, engaging in building secretariats, engaging in building stadium, engaging in buying vehicles. As a matter of fact, the vehicles that the transition committee chairman or the SOLADs use in the various local governments till today were vehicles purchased under Right Honorable Meki Hedioha. Under Hedioha, reactivated what we used to know in this state as IMO. IMO is the Imo Road Maintenance Agency. Under Hedioha, local governments purchased a grader and a payloader per local government for them to be able to grade rural roads. These were things that happened during the time of Hedioha. And even today, those graders are nowhere to be seen. So what can he say that they have been able to do in 34 months in office in the local government? And he's jumping from one side to the other. He's blaming the House of Assembly. He's blaming this one. He's blaming that one. If he is saying that the local governments are getting their funds, what are they doing with it? A local government like Ribitoni, where I come from, receive about 200 million naira every month. So for the past 34 months, what have they been able to do with 200 million naira every month? If you check the amount of money that have come into the local government system in the past 34 months, you get to understand that you have about 140 billion naira that has not been accounted for. What are they done with it?
Where do you think the money goes to?
I think the governor is in the best position to answer that question.
Okay, let me answer.
Because that is why they bring people, they bring some administrators, because what they do is that they bring these people so that when the money comes, people will just come and sign. They will give them how much, whatever amount they desire. They maybe manage to pay salaries, they may not pay pensions, and the rest will be stories. That is what's happening in the local government. That is why they have not been able to even drop a shovel of sand in the 27 local governments for the past 3 years.
You see, I don't know whether I should think that Bemba returned from Lagos or from Abuja. You understand?
Well, he said it's an email.
No, it's an email. He didn't tell me what the word is going on in the local government.
That is what I want to tell him now.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Because in the first place, during the Hedioha administration, no local government was bubbling. All the 27 local governments were micromanaged.
What do you mean by that?
They were all centrally managed in the office of the governor, Governor Emeka Hedioha. All the local government, 27 of them were micromanaged. No local government at the time had its own program. Now, let me give you an example. How come all the 27 local governments agreed that their problems was build secretariats? How come that all of them agreed that their problem was to build stadium? How come many of them agreed that their problem was to build swimming pool?
That is why you got creative leadership.
Excuse me. What happened to comparative advantage? What happened to local problems?
Okay.
Your local problem, the problems in detail is not the same thing as problems in a local government. So if you wanted secretariat and we have secretariat, why don't I manage? Even if we don't have the secretariat and we're operating from a makeshift building, we may prefer to manage it and solve some of the problems first. But these decisions were unilaterally taken at the government house. And see,
now are you saying in effect that there was no value added if we had, or there wouldn't have been value added if those projects were allowed to run to fruition, because they were not complete, they were halted when Governor Uzodinma came into office.
We were not in the
thinking about, let me remind you, like when we have local government stadiums, do you think of, do you
you haven't deviated from the point. The point is not the point now. We have not got to the point of value addition.
Okay.
We are talking about the functionality of the local government as a system. It's not a question of you dictating to me what is good for me.
Can you tell us what is happening today?
Excuse me, I'm coming to that.
Lift 3 years.
You made reference to 3 years ago. Yes. No, you made reference to 3 years ago.
I am here to
excuse me, I give you.
Tell us what is happening now.
I'll tell you.
We are spending so much time talking about.
I will tell you. I'll be patient. I'll tell you.
You don't have so much.
I'll give you just 2 minutes. I'll give you another example. Sometime in 2019, Governor,
if I get you right, you say what you are trying to say is that the government should not have imposed those projects on the local.
There was no imposition.
That is one. But the major point is that there was no autonomy for the local government. They were all micromanaged. They were all centrally mandated in the government house. There was no life anywhere. So this concocted idea of the local government was booming, was sponsoring the administration of the local government. It's not true. It is concocted. I cite another example. Abraham was on a tour, on a facility tour of local government. He came to Obuta to inspect the secretariat.
Under construction.
Under construction. If the local government chairman were doing that, I wonder why governor will be interested in going to do the inspection. But while there, in my presence, he called somebody, I won't mention the person's name. He said, please, I want Olympic-sized swimming pool here at the local government. Okay. So in my presence, yes. Did you hear what I said? The person said yes. Even the person asked me to remind him. When we got back to Owerri, I should remind him about the Olympic-sized swimming pool. You see,
the wrong for the governor to demand such for the.
He did not demand. He ordered.
Considering Uguta,
it was not only Uguta that got that kind of order.
Okay.
There were 6 local governments that got that kind of order. But the point I'm trying to make is that that order couldn't have come up if the local governments were autonomous under him, if the local governments were doing it.
Okay.
But again, I don't want to talk today what happened, why they were stopped, because a lot of.
So you are practically here to discuss here, not to discuss.
No.
You have spent 20 minutes talking about India. You have failed to mention one thing. No, the man has done in the local government. You are taking our time. You are not the only one speaking in the program. 5 kilometers of roads running across the 27 local governments. Mention the ones
in local government, the whole 5 kilometer road was seated to my area, running from Ejimekuru to Agwa.
And it's all there.
The contract has been awarded. Excuse me, it's not in 3 years. See, don't jump to conclusions. I should tell you one. Then we also have the health care, the rehabilitation of the healthcare centers across the world. The 305 wards. And this is against the inability, the failure of the administration to revive one of them. So here we are.
Now wait. When we are making comparisons, we should relate it to time, so that it doesn't appear like an unfair judgment. You know, Ihedio's government was just for 7 months and a half, like you pointed out, and then comparing it with Uzodimma's 2.5 years or so, or thereabout. So let's leave that. Now, what the point that we are taking from this, that you acknowledge that yes, the local government system is not running very, very well, and that both the legislators and the executives should collaborate and make sure that they revive the local government system. That is taken. I think the point has been made. I wish the people who are concerned should take these messages, because the local governments are dead in Imo State. That is the fact. You can take a trip and find out these things for you. If the media in Imo is up and doing, they would have been throwing up some of these issues. Anyway, let's move away from that. It's still on the issue of a rule of law. Something played out in the states recently. I'm coming to you. The issue right now, the National Industrial Court has been shut down since June. Something happened. According to reports, a ruling was given by the court in favor of the former deputy governor, Madumere. And as a result, the government, in protest, stormed the place and in a kind of brigandage, abused physically the court official, including the judge, and they had to close down the place. Since then, the use of that court, is not available to the public. Not just Imo people, but every other person that is supposed to access that court. Now, how do you think Imo people has been affected by that?
Okay, thank you very much. Talking about the shutdown of the industrial courts and the upholding of rule of law, the whole issue still boils down to what I said earlier on in this program. This government in power in Imo State is a government that, was birthed, that have their foundation on illegality. So
what do you mean by illegality?
We all know the story, how even the governor himself have acknowledged that he came into power through the Ben Johnson way. So he knows, and he has come out on national TV to acknowledge that he came into government through the Ben Johnson way. So how do you expect such a government?
No, I want you to withdraw, because this is, I can't make it.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm saying what the governor said. So why are you asking me to withdraw what the governor said? I'm not
through the ruling of the Supreme Court. So
he said by himself. He said on national TV, is on tape, is on record, that he came through the Ben Johnson means. We don't know what he means by that. So you don't tell me to withdraw what the governor said. So let's leave that aside. That is by the way. Okay. How do you expect such a government to have any atom of integrity? That is the same thing we are saying. They don't. How will he uphold the rule of law for any court judgment or what? You don't expect someone to give what they don't have. So it is. I'm not surprised. It didn't come to me as a surprise that the government is maybe manipulating and influencing the shutting down of some judicial institutions, for them to evade obeying the rule of law. So it doesn't come to me as a surprise, because you cannot give what you don't have.
Okay, so Collins, do you feel concerned that the industrial court?
Well, in the first place,
yeah, and I have of the brigandage of the government.
I have a lot of respect for the judiciary in Nigeria.
Okay,
and I don't like coming to the media space to begin to
talk about
issues affecting the judiciary. But for the purposes of this discussion, let me make a few points. Okay. One is that I read somewhere, I think last week or so, that the industrial court in a way will resume sitting very soon. Number two, something happened, something led to that. Somebody went to High Court and got a judgment. The judgment, he said, favored him. Then the state government appealed that judgment and filed for stay of execution of that judgment. Now, the person involved
No, what happened? I think you are turning it the other way, because the matter was first domiciled at the industrial court and ruling was given. Then the government now filed a counter suit or so at a high court, which they say is a parallel, it's a court of the same.
That is, see, so the point I'm making is that
because I know the matter originated from the industrial court.
The state government filed for stay of execution
at the high court.
At the high court, since you admit that there are courts of coordinate jurisdiction, and they as well appealed that judgment. In this instant case, anybody who wants to obey the rule of law will stay action. Now, for you to now go ahead to picket the banks, to force banks to close down, you are attacking the foundation of the state, the economy of the state. You are creating panic, you are creating fear, and I don't think that any reasonable government will tolerate that. So, I am not saying that anybody is justified to lay hands on the judiciary. I won't be party to that. But whatever happened, the good news is that the issue is being resolved. Peace is returning, and the industrial court, as I learned, will resume sitting very soon. Again, talking about Ben Johnson, you see, sometimes when elders, if you sit around the elders, they talk in proverbs, they use idioms, they use metaphor and all of that. So when governor said he came into the Ben Johnson way, he was creating a metaphor of Ben Johnson. The Ben Johnson we know. We don't know Ben Johnson as somebody, as a criminal, or somebody who indulged in irregularities. But coming through the Ben Johnson way was the metaphor of, look, I came from outside the APC. Excuse me. Okay. He said the way you understood it. He said you said the way you understood it. I'm telling you that it was a metaphor. You are saying the way you understood it. No, the way it should be understood is what I'm saying. Okay. You understand? The way it should be understood, because it is a metaphorical statement of you. I came from outside the APC. I was in the PDP, a senator in the PDP. I came from the PDP, won the ticket of the APC, the governorship ticket of the APC. I went ahead to win the governorship election despite all the odds.
This, as far as we are concerned, is
the real interpretation of what the governor said. Not that he won election through irregularities. Because if he had won election through irregularities, the Supreme Court would not have validated the irregularity.
We are not here to discuss the Supreme Court. If you want
the people would not have validated it.
Let me remind you, we know Ben Johnson as an athlete. He's somebody who was caught, I think, is it what they call it, doping. He used this to have a undue.
We don't know the story of Ben Johnson. He doesn't know the story of Ben Johnson.
Maybe that is the way he saw the governor explaining it. So he had not in his mind to start.
No, more people know the story of Ben Johnson. It's a very simple thing. If we are done with this program, we can go ahead and do the name Ben Johnson. Which insisted how he engaged in all manner of fraudulent activities in his outlet. I don't want. You can go and Google it.
I don't want.
That is not why we are here.
Shouting match.
We are not shouting. We are interacting.
And again, I don't want a sweeping. I don't want sweeping comments. Say this is what IMO people. You are not elected to speak for IMO people. You are not the government. It is the government that has the mandate to say this is what IMO people are saying, or this is what IMO people are thinking. You don't have that mandate.
It's okay. Let us.
He does. The Spirit of says so. Unless you are your own part.
The governor of the
and say, IMO people knows you have your mandate.
The people validates that.
So for now,
the people say they have it, and that is what it is.
Okay. So. Lastly, let's talk about this issue before we round off. That is not on our side so much. There's also this issue that's been there since November last year. It's almost like 1 year now. 3 members of the House of Assembly are on suspension, what is called indefinite suspension, according to when the judgment was handed down. Now, how do you see exclusion of some constituencies, 3 constituencies? I remember Mbitolo, for example. I remember I don't know where this guy come from, around the Victor or low area, you know. And there are 3 members of the State Assembly serving suspension, meaning that their constituencies have been excluded from governance. How does it come to you?
You see, this boils down to it is like the issue of local government autonomy. Yeah. If in my local government, I feel that my local government is getting 100 million naira every month, and I don't see value to that. The first person I should talk to, I should quarrel with,
is the legislator.
Not just the legislator.
Okay.
But the person at the head there, whether IMC chairman, whether TC chairman, whether sole administrator or elected, I should ask him what's happening. What is happening? I will just come up and begin to cast aspersion on the governor. The same thing applies here. The legislature is an independent arm of the government. If there are infractions, if there are things happening in the legislature we don't like, we have our lawmakers representing us there. We should hold them to account. We should ask them, please, can you stop this? We don't like it. We should not, because something happens in the House of Assembly, then we not begin to say, oh, governor has done this, governor has done that. And again, the legislature is not a congregation of gentlemen. It's a congregation of people from diverse backgrounds. Some will come there and quarrel, some come there and fight. They play their own legislative politics. And the state assembly has their rules. If anybody violates the rules, like the people you were talking about, you mentioned that got suspended, the reason given by the state assembly was that they violated the assembly rules. The rules, they themselves were part of those who made the rules and approved the rules. So if you make law and you violate that law, should you be spared because you have assembly member?
Are you looking at the weight of that sanction, the weight of that punishment? You know, to the extent that a section of the state will be excluded from what is happening in the...
See, actions have consequences. When the House members were making those rules, perhaps they didn't have any particular person in mind, but they knew that that would be the outcome, the consequence of such action. Now, if us as people, as electorate, if you don't like it, nothing stops us from going to the state assembly to protest, to say, look, this is too much. We thought these people, this suspension will last for 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 month at the maximum. Please, can you restate our members? We are losing a lot. It is democracy. Let's put everything on the table. Let's discuss everything instead of rushing to cast aspersion on anybody, especially the innocent.
Do you have any opinion?
Thank you. My take on this is that in Imo State, we have a government, and that government is, though legitimately, being governed by the governor. The governor, Governor Uzodimma, is the governor of not only the executive arm of government. So, since he came in power, he could see different sectors of the state, different institutions of the state going down. We have just finished talking about the local government. You look at the health system, you look at the education, you look at security, and then we are talking about the legislature now. Every institution of government under his watch is going down. And my friend here wants to exonerate the governor from what is happening in the Imo State House of Assembly. My take on what is happening in the Imo State House of Assembly is that it is very, very unfortunate that for the past over a year now, over 12 months, my constituency, Ibitolu State constituency, that is being represented by Right Honorable Okoye Kama, and 2 other local governments have been shut out from what is happening in the state for over a year now because of politicking, because of political interests. Since Uzodimma came in power, Imo State House of Assembly have not rested. This is one governor that has, under 2 years, had cause to exchange speakers like clothings. About 4.
It is not Uzodimma's.
Well, if you listen to what I said from the beginning, if you listen to what I said from the beginning, every institution of this state. So why is it boils down to non-creativity of the governor? The governor is the governor of the state, not the governor of the executive. If I must tell you. So if you cannot exonerate the governor from what is happening in the State House of Assembly. I'm getting my views, but he's trying to tell us or tell the viewers that we can exonerate the governor from what is happening in the State House of Assembly. But we cannot. He knows that these are internal politicings going on. These are political interests. The reason why these guys have been on suspension for this number of months is political, purely political. There is nothing like they broke any house. Okay, they broke a house rule and you suspended them indefinitely. But does the house rules also allow you to suspend a state constituency indefinitely? Who does that? So that is what we are saying, that every institution is going down under Uzodimma, and it boils down to the one creativity of this person as the governor of the state.
Let us deceive the public. Let us clarify these issues. Let's clarify these issues. Yes. Members of the State Assembly, including his own representative, okay, Onekama, they sat and made a rule. One of the rules gave the speaker enormous powers. But let me remind you. Allow me make this point, please. Allow me make this point. You want to give him? No. Allow me make this point. You are saying like you are the moderator of the program.
No. I am aware that the legislators in the Southeast has a rule, a standing rule, which says that no, I got this from a member of the IMO State House of Assembly, that no member of the legislature will be suspended for more than 2 weeks. But what happens in the State Assembly says, anytime they want to suspend anybody, they will relax the rule, they will suspend salary, they will do this, they will do that, so that they will inflict more punishment on the person. Is that right for the citizens of the state? That is the question I am asking.
See, let us not elevate hearsay as public for facts. Hearsay cannot be accepted for fact. Okay. What I'm saying is that if the lawmaker that told you that really meant it, he had the floor of the House to ventilate these issues, and they will be reported by the correspondents covering the State Assembly. But for him to fail to ventilate these issues,
some of them, if you get close, some of them are afraid to speak out.
Then they should not be in the House of Assembly.
For fear of the government.
Some people should not be in the House of Assembly. Some people are hiding their failures. They are clothing their failures with the false impression that the governor is doing this, governor will do this, governor will punish us. The governor is not the speaker of the State Assembly.
Okay.
He is the governor of Imo State, yes. He is, but he is the head of the executive, not head of the judiciary, not head of the speaker. So if anything goes wrong at the legislature, the person to hold responsible, first of all, the speaker and other members of the House. Okay. So if any member of the House fails to use the floor of the House to ventilate his grievances, to say, look, we are being manipulated, look, we are being intimidated, and it comes to the secret to whisper to anyone else, I can't accept that.
It's okay. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming to the program. Collins, I appreciate your coming. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you to viewers. Remember to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. My name is Afam Eti, the host. Thank you so much.